last perspective, we talked about this being a season where there are a lot of debates, presidential debates, and then next year, if the Lord tarries, there'll be another election here in our nation. And I read from Isaiah chapter 2, verse 22, and we talked about the fact that we should never esteem a man, that we are here, our calling. Though we should pray and we should vote to the glory of God, our calling is to be an advocate not of a political party or a particular candidate, but of the Lord Jesus Christ. We have people all around us dying, going to a Christless eternity, and our responsibility is to take the gospel to them. And I talked about God being providential, God being sovereign. I want to give you another example from Isaiah. King Hezekiah was reigning during this time, and Sennacherib was a threat. He was a king of the Assyrians, and he was legendary. He was going around destroying, just taking over nations, killing kings of other nations. And so he one day sends his lackey, we might say his press secretary. Just like today there are press secretaries who are tasked with going and explaining the inexplicable to people. Well, he sends his lackey to Israel, basically to Judah, to say, look, this is what's going to happen. Sennacherib's going to come. He's going to destroy the nation. And by the way, Sennacherib knew exactly what the Jews would do. They knew that they had Isaiah and other prophets who might come in and say, don't listen. Sennacherib's not going to harm us. Yahweh has said he will save us from Sennacherib. So Sennacherib makes sure that his lackey comes and says, and don't say this. Don't say Yahweh will save them because they won't. I'm going to come in and destroy you. Well, what does Hezekiah do? He's stressed. He's concerned. So he does the right thing. He goes, brings this before the Lord, and then he asks Isaiah to come, because remember, God spoke through prophets to the people. So he comes, explains the situation to Isaiah, and then God speaks through Isaiah. And I just want to read a couple verses. In chapter 37 of Isaiah, God says this. He reminds us in verse 26, have you not heard that I determined it long ago? I planned from days of old what now I bring to pass, that you should make fortified cities crash into heaps of ruins. And then he continues, but the point is God's saying, I am sovereign, I am providential. And God ends up telling Hezekiah, don't worry about it. I'm going to take care of Sennacherib. In fact, Sennacherib isn't even going to invade you. I'm going to make sure that he dies. And what does God do? God ends up raising up Sennacherib's own sons against him and kills him. And once again, God is proven to be trustworthy. God is proven to be providential and sovereign. So just another example of how we can and should trust our God, for he is the God who reigns.